Denver, Colorado, just to the first wave of the Rocky Mountains. Denver, Colorado, on the high plains of American sport. Home of the Nuggets, the Rockies, the Broncos, and home of one of the finest short tracks in America, the 3/8 mile Colorado National Speedway, where at 9 a.m. this morning, they were lined up to buy tickets, standing room tickets, because the hottest ticket in Denver was sold out days ago. They use all forms of horsepower to get here to Colorado National. Stand by for the NASCAR Super Trucks, ready to ramble for 200 laps. And let's meet a couple of the principals for today's race, standing by with Dick Berger.
There are two big favorites for today's race, and one of them is Rick Corelli. This is his home track, where last year he won 11 events. He has far more experience here than any other driver. In fact, many of the drivers in today's field saw this racetrack for the very first time this morning. What advantage does all that experience bring you for today's race, Rick?
Well, showing here in qualifying, it didn't bring me a lot, but we set the truck up for long runs. This place has a tendency in the heat of the day to get really loose. You know, and we got a really good tire here that Goodyear has given us, so we got to take care of those tires and, you know, keep her good and straight coming off those corners.
And Ron Hornaday has won 3 of these Super Truck races in 1995. He set quick time today, and he's going to start on the pole. But, Ron, this is a nasty little joint where it's awful easy to get in trouble. What's your strategy for staying out of trouble?
Well, Doug Richards and the guys in his Papa John Chevy truck done a great job. We're actually set up for the race, and I was really surprised as good. It's just a strategy of keeping off straight, like Ricky said, and the tires underneath us today.
For more, here's Mike Joy.
Dick, these Super Trucks are essentially Winston Cup car chassis and suspensions with Busch Grand National 9-to-1 V8 engines and standard showroom pickup truck dimensions and body styles. One thing's unique. The Dodge nameplate is in this series and no other major NASCAR series. Walker Evans drives the blue truck, Dennis Setzer this red one, and he came that close to victory lane in Milwaukee. What's it like driving a Dodge? You've run Fords and Chevrolets.
Well, really, you don't notice that much difference. You know, the Dodge Ram pickup motor is comparable to the Fords and Chevrolets, and the chassis is basically the same. So it's a very good piece as far as a race truck.
There are a lot of Mopar fans out there. Have you heard from a lot of Dodge supporters since that great run at Milwaukee?
Really, we have. You know, we've had a lot of support from different fans and stuff, and it seems like it's growing for the sport right there as far as the Mopar fans become involved. And also, it's good for Dennis Setzer. You know, I've heard a lot of response myself, so it's been very good for me.
Well, good luck today. Let's go back topside to Ken Squier.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. Hey, we're back where we belong. We're on an American short track. There's 800 to 900 of these kind of tracks all over America. And this, for many of us, is where the action really is. Take a 3/8 mile, put these Super Trucks to work on it, and it's going to be full contact, in your door, fender flailing action for 200 laps. 8 trucks strong, and who better to speak to it than a guy who won a couple of national championships in NASCAR, driving on short tracks and loving them just as much about as any of these fans here today.
My favorite type of racing, Ken, no question about it. Back when I was driving race cars, about 2/3 of the races we came to the racetrack on the day of the race, practice and qualified. That's exactly what they did here today, and then go racing. Now, this racetrack was designed for 3 abreast type racing, and we might see some of that this afternoon, but as the 2 drivers said earlier, it takes a lot of finesse to drive this racetrack. Another thing that's a little bit unusual here is the fact that if they have to make a pit stop, they hope not to have to make a pit stop excepting at halftime. The pits are on the outside of the track. They enter pits off of turn 2, come back in off of turn 4. So somewhat of a unique situation there.
So for Ned Jarrett and yours truly and all the rest of the gang, this is going to be a very exciting afternoon right here on CBS. Now let's go down for that simple command, whether it's at Talladega, Alabama for the Die Hard 500, or here that puts the hair up on the back of your head.
On behalf of Total employees everywhere, Super Truck drivers, start your engines!
We're back with you at Colorado National. 200 laps to be run, and the field is ready to roll out on a perfect day to go racing. They're having a heat wave around the country, but here, hey, you can't beat it. 78 degrees, humidity at 74%. Forecast, little chance of hours late in the day, but sure looks like we've got a good one going here at Colorado National.
As the trucks start to move out on the track, they'll warm those engines up for a few laps, seat those tires in, be ready to go.
Take a look at the starting grid today. For the second time, Ron Hornaday actually third. One time they had a little rain problem, so he got a chance to be on the pole. Hornaday Jr. on the pole. Jack Sprague out of Concord, North Carolina, starts beside him. In row number 2 for this afternoon's race, the former Silver Crown champion, Mike Bliss from out in Washington, and Butch Miller is there. In row 3 this afternoon, Billy Sedgwick, great qualifying run, and Toby Butler, watch him run that Ford. Row 4 today. That'll be P.J. Jones from Torrance, California, and Mike Skinner, the big winner in this series. In row 5, it's Joe Ruttman, the current point leader, has one of our cameras, and Scott Legacy, the great road racer. Then in row 6 for today's championship run, Rick Corelli, hometown favorite from Denver, and starting beside him is Steve Portingay, Western champion in NASCAR. Row 7, oh, so many times, 18 times, champion out in the desert, Walker Evans, and Dennis Setzer in that Dodge that gave us the great show at Milwaukee. In row 8, there you have Dave Resendez from Massachusetts, and starting alongside will be Bob Strait. For row 9, that's John Kinder, the youngest driver in the field, and the great Sammy Swindell. He's won 5 sprint car races since we saw him at Milwaukee. Going to row 10 today, Dennis Woolridge makes his first appearance in the trucks, and John Nemechek. In row 11, there's Ray Daniels, great Western star, and T.J. Clark. Row 12, rounding out the field, Bobby Breback is there with Kerry T. And the flagman, Mr. Porter, has the field under control for, what, 2 more laps before we send them out here today, Ned?
2 more laps, and we'll get the green flag. You can see the caution waving there as he gives them the 2-lap signal.
Row 13, Jerry Glanville is there, and Kenny Allen ready to go to work. Glanville spun this morning, got it back together, and came out. Row 14, there you have Mike Horvath and Jimmy Dick, and that rounds out the field. The manufacturer's breakdown for today's race.
Chevrolet has 14 trucks in the field, and Ford has 12, and the 2 Dodges that Mike Joy pointed out at the top of the show.
Take a look at the race analysis for today's program. You have a purse of $166,000. And on this track, you're going to run 200 laps, about 75 miles in 2 segments with that intermission and a halftime. Well, that gives us a chance to put all the trucks back together. 1 lap, they're going to turn them loose. 3/8 mile oval, compound banking there.
Yeah, 4 degrees on the bottom side, that's almost flat. Then it banks up to 9 degrees, and then the top is 12 degrees. So if you go in there a little too fast on the low side, you drift up a little bit, maybe that 9-degree banking will catch you, and if it don't, maybe the 12-degree bank will catch you before you get to the wall.
The in-truck cameras today. Let's see, there's Rick Corelli's number 6. Give you some exciting shots for sure on this track.
Big favorite here in Denver.
Oh, is he ever. And here's Dennis Setzer in the Dodge. And then Joe Ruttman, qualified second time around.
Joe had a little problem this morning. Only made 2 or 3 laps, and the engine failed in the truck that he planned to run. They went to a backup truck and still had a pretty good qualifying run here. He'll start in the 9th position. We're about ready to go racing.
The cooperation he gave us, switching cameras around there, immense. There it is, the number 1 truck in the series. We're off and running. Hornaday leads them down. Jack Sprague sticks with him, trying to come up the inside to number 2 is Bliss.
Sprague has a lot of experience on this type track. He runs a lot in Concord, North Carolina, a very similar type track.
See Butch Miller back there in 4th. The 75, the blue and white truck right there. That's Sedgwick.
And look how low they're running down on that 4-degree banking at this point. Maybe after those tires heat up a little bit, they might be slipping up the track a little bit, but they're wanting to stay low right now.
Tires will be an issue here today. They'll get 40, 50 laps out of them. And then it's going to be a little dicey. Remember, you get a 5-lap penalty if you come in for tires. You hit on the outside of this track. So Hornaday has the lead in the early going. Jack Sprague willing to sit there in second, take a slightly higher line. The number 2, Mike Bliss, hanging right in there. Butch Miller, followed by Sedgwick. And the guy who's really been coming on, the number 21. That's that yellow rig. That's the Ford of Toby Butler.
Toby was having some problems when he first went out on the track today for practice, but in the last half hour, he really got that truck to working well, and as a result, turned in a good qualifying run. Boy, it didn't look like he'd make the top 20 there the way he was running early this morning, but they made some adjustments, and it worked. See how low he's able to stay on the track. That's the number 21, the Ortho truck.
Just behind him is number 3. Here you see the 7th place runner. That's Skinner. Guy that's won 5 of these races, put on that great show in Milwaukee. Behind Skinner in 8th is P.J. Jones, and then comes Ruttman. Corelli follows to round out the top 10. Here's Ruttman. Back of Ruttman's car, here's Corelli coming after him. Just settling in. You know, they had 3 of these short track races, 11 or 12 cautions. It's so hard. You got 600, 650 horsepower up there under the hood, and you come onto a 3/8 mile track with all kinds of different banking to really keep control of these things. Nice start to today's race.
Yes, and it's hard to use all that horsepower on a track like this.
Yep.
And we see Rick Corelli back there trying to move on the outside. He's the first one that's really making a move. Here he is, trying to move around Joe Ruttman on the outside. It looks like he might be successful at it, Ken.
Going for ninth.
Yeah, pretty brave move, but he knows this track better than any driver in this field because he has a lot of winning laps here.
P.J. Jones moves out on him just a little. P.J. who's driving for Dan Gurney, testing that Indianapolis car for next year, that Toyota. Loves this truck series and gives it a good run. Here's Ruttman back on the inside.
Well, what happened? P.J. Jones moved. He saw Corelli coming, so he moved up and said, hey, that might be a faster groove. Let me move up there and try. So it sort of cut Corelli off there. But P.J. has the position, so he's able to run where he wants to.
Great pictures here. As you see, P.J. gets down there. You don't want to fool with Ruttman. He will put the fender to you, and does.
Well, you know, bumping is expected in this type of racing.
You bet. There's Ruttman holding up P.J., and there's Corelli now trying to duck inside of P.J. another time on the bottom. That time he has the move.
Yeah, I think he's got the position now. He has that preferred line. He made a good pass on Ruttman on the outside, but then he got up there and got blocked out and couldn't go any further. So now P.J.'s caught on the outside.
Battle for 9th position is what we're focusing on right now.
Already a lap down is car number 79 of Jimmy Dick from El Paso, Texas.
Brand new runner to the series at 79. Back with the leaders for a moment. Keep track of Hornaday. 14 laps in the book, all green so far.
And these 2 trucks have pulled away a little bit. Good battle going on for 3rd between Butch Miller and Mike Bliss. As we see the leaders here, Hornaday, Sprague, lapping the truck number 11. Of course, that's the truck being driven by Mike Horvath.
And that, too, is a new truck in the series. Sprague, Concord, North Carolina racer, closing in on Hornaday again. Papa John carrying the mail right now. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, you're seeing a bit of controlled racing right now because everyone's afraid to show their hand and use up their right rear tire too early. If they have to make a pit stop, it costs them time on the track and a 5-lap penalty for each tire they change. So things are a little conservative out there right now. Why do they need to save that right rear tire? Dick Berggren.
Well, Mike, the tires that Goodyear brought here for this race are very soft. That has led to quick qualifying times, but the tires wear very quickly. As a result, when they do, the trucks really become a handful. All the drivers are concerned about it. As they wear, they leave marbles just outside the absolute racing groove. Anybody who gets in there is going into the wall with it. So the drivers are saying that they have got to drive with the throttle very, very gently. Pole sitter Ron Hornaday said, I'm going to run this race as if I've got an egg between my foot and the gas pedal.
Getting scrambled out here for just a moment back there in 9th place. You see that battle between Ruttman and the 84, Skinner in the 3. He's trying to make a move, pick up a spot right now on the 21.
Toby Butler caught on the outside. As Skinner gets a nose under him, he's going to make the pass. And here comes Ruttman right on the inside, too. In fact, the train will go by if Butler isn't careful. Once one truck gets on the inside, there's not a whole lot that Toby can do about it. Corelli had gotten up on the outside.